I'd like to give you the opportunity to do that.
Um,
Otherwise, oh, go ahead.
no, otherwise what?
Well, otherwise, I had mentioned earlier that your another one of Bancor's products had just made its way over to Mantle. So the ARB Fastlane is was developed for a couple of reasons, right? But one of the main reasons is because it takes markets that are created on Carbon DeFi, right? And arbitrages with other DEXs that it's integrated with. So right now, Carbon DeFi is found on Ethereum, and there are licensed deployments on Base, Phantom, and soon to be Mantle, maybe with the ARB Fastlane deploying there.
Yeah, you should expect that if the Fastlane is deploying there, that it's foreshadowing a carbon deployment in the immediate future.
Yeah. Okay, so this is the order of fulfillment. This is how it works because there's no matching on Carbon DeFi, but
Correct.
there's kind of like a built-in bot system.
Yeah, there is no broker, right? So in general, for a centralized exchange, you have um, privileged individuals who are tasked with matching order flows. And this is something that they will either, benefit from because they're active participants in the market themselves, or they will charge for that service, or what have you. On Ethereum and with blockchains, the idea is to sort of push back against that kind of power structure by building something that anyone can interact with. And so the philosophy in Carbon DeFi is essentially that all that is required is for the prices that people are asking to trade at are broadcast publicly and are easily discoverable. But from a product perspective, there is always this assumption of an efficient market. And in general, it's a bad assumption. Some markets efficient, but most aren't. And cryptocurrency in particular can be very patchy and very granular. And so in order to try and make it more efficient, we've decided to meet, let's say, the passive market participant or even active market participants halfway by developing some of the tools that they require to interact with the chain. So usually, so around the 2020, 2021 sort of period, you would just assume that, oh, there are ARBs out there, there won't be money left on the table for too long. People trade for all sorts of reasons, and arbitrage is as legitimate a reason as anything else. Problem is that when you've got lots of new chains, lots of new DEX protocols, and that kind of thing, the assumption that someone will show up becomes worse and worse, right? Or gets weaker and weaker over time, and this can hurt
Right.
the performance of new products. And so the Art Fastlane is basically saying, okay, well, how about we develop that infrastructure and let anyone use it? And that is, yeah, the person who is quoting a price doesn't care who who is trading with them or for what reason. Only that the prices that they are quoting are being taken when it seems that the market is ready to take them. And so having an arbitrage system in place helps to make that market a little bit more efficient and improves the execution certainty. Now, having said that, there's no such thing as a price. Like we point at price charts all the time. We say that the price of Bitcoin is exactly this to 6 decimal places, but it's still a guess. The only price that matters is the one that you get after the trade is executed. And this is why I think quoting prices is good, because you know exactly the price you're going to get. This isn't specific to Carbon DeFi, although in terms of decentralized finance, it is pretty rare. But yeah, whatever price you want is the price you get. There's no slippage or anything else that you have to sort of worry about. And that's the same on a centralized order book as well. If you're creating a limit order for a certain price, generally you're going to get exactly the price that you asked for, not a penny less or a penny more. There are things like market orders and things that can sort of change the perspective on that a little bit. And I'm speaking in broad strokes deliberately, but you get the idea.
Right. Thank you. It's exciting to see, everything expanding. So again, congratulations. We'll have to, if you would keep us updated, because if this is a little bit of foreshadowing, then I'm looking forward to hearing about the additional deployments on Mantle. So, Koryo, I'm going to pass it over to you. Speaking of different chains and ecosystems and things, we have, oh, Mark ditched. He'll be back. We have spoken about your narratives dashboard, but you have a few different dashboards, and I have been seeing quite a bit about, of course, narratives, right? And I think I even saw you say that we have a new leading narrative right now that kind of took over the meme category. But your other Dune dashboard, I was hoping maybe we can look at that, because I'm seeing a lot more of different chains that we're kind of circling back to that have really seen a lot of activity. I don't know if you've been keeping up with your ecosystem Dune dashboard, but if so, maybe we can touch on that topic a little bit today as well.
Yes, absolutely. We can actually even start with that. So let me
Awesome.
share this. Let me share the screen here, and let me know when you can see my screen.
Got it. There's a lot of us.
So let's go on that dashboard. So it's called ecosystems. So it's actually comparing different chains that are covered by Dune. Not everything is covered by Dune, but most EVM chains and most L2 chains are covered here. And so there are different sections, but two sections that I would like to highlight today is first of all, we start with a bridging activity, because even if not everything is, not all chains are covered, but everything starts with a bridge. So you have some assets on, on Ethereum or on Arbitrum, etc., and then you want to bridge on a new chain or a chain that is having more activity. And although that chain might not be covered by Dune, but because you are interacting with a contract that is, taking care of bridging your assets onto that chain, then we can see that activity. And so here, for example, if you look at this chart, we are seeing a lot of blue. So let me zoom in a bit. So we are seeing a lot of this clear blue, which is actually the base, L2 channel. So, we had in 2023, you remember when Base just launched and there was this frantic
Right.
social DeFi. So this was a Base did really well, and then actually then it had some calmer periods later in 2023, but then it's picking up in 2024, as you can see here, with activity going increasing quite actually in a strong way, as we can see here. And we know that now there is a lot of new tokens and activity launching. Now, this is a good introduction to the second part of this dashboard, which is new listings. So why new listings is relevant? Because as soon as there is a lot of activity or a lot of attention on a given chain, people and degens and traders, they will start to bridge to that fund, to that chain, in order to find some good opportunities and maximize their profits. And this also means that some other maybe people on the other side, maybe founders or people launching projects, they want to take this as opportunity, and so they will launch new projects on that chain. And that could be meme coins. Most of the time, the quickest to launch are meme coins, because they can be launched in 10 minutes. But also, as soon as there is liquidity, etc., some more established and serious projects can consider that. And so what are we seeing here in this section? We are seeing the number of new tokens, the number of new, ERC20 tokens that have been listed on different chains. Recently, I think this is showing the last 3 months. And so you can see that Solana, is
Wild.
has a wild number of token launches, and we know that everybody was and is still talking about Solana, and there were like thousands of meme coins launching per day on Solana, and so that's why you see these numbers. But this shows you actually that there is a lot of attention on Solana. It shows it in a in a different way, and maybe it's a different angle compared to looking at users and number of transactions and TVL, etc. This is yet another metric that has its own merits, I think, especially for people who are into trading, because we know that usually the newer projects or newer token launches get more attention, and so they also provide some opportunity. And then followed by Solana is Base. We also know that Base, has is kind of now, I mean, has a lot of opportunities and has also a lot of potentials, because we are talking about Coinbase, actually kind of one of the biggest exchanges that is providing this, UI for every Coinbase user to be able to, do on-chain transactions through Base layer 2 and interact with dexes, etc. So there is a lot of potential, and we are seeing it also in that number showing up. And interestingly, although if you look at the price appreciation of some of these tokens, like Phantom, for example, that has had a good run lately. So if I look at Phantom, because they have this Sonic upgrade, etc. Just in the last 2 months, it went up almost 4x. But
Wow.
in terms of DeFi activity, we were here. There aren't, at least we can say, there aren't a lot of new token launches, which probably means there aren't yet a lot of meme coins and new projects, etc. It might be lagging, so something to consider. Of course, this is one metric among others, but we are not seeing that yet. And so as for traders and people who are into short term catalysts and risky plays, it seems that still Solana and Base are providing the best opportunities. And then another thing that you can do is actually you can look at how the gas price is evolving across time on different chains. And so here you can see Ethereum, of course, which has very expensive gas price compared to other L1s and L2s. But there is an interesting pattern where you can actually see, because the gas fee is determined by the supply and demand, and the more on-chain activity there is, the more prices go up, etc. And so there is also alpha in considering, like, if gas prices are too cheap, maybe there aren't a lot of people on chain, or they are not doing any transaction, probably because the market is quite either bearish or is just ranging and nothing interesting happening. And this usually is a good moment to buy historically. If you look at gas prices and you compare that to Ethereum price or Bitcoin price, this is a good time to buy. And
Hey, Koryo,
conversely, yes.
If I can just ask a quick question, you were looking at Phantom one screen before this.
Yes.
Last week we talked about. I think you had mentioned that, like, you could see them; they're moving left up the rank or right down the rank.
Yeah.
How has Phantom's performance been over the past couple of weeks? Is it moving left, or is it moving right? And why? And do we know why?
Yes. So first of all, yes, it was actually the best performing L1 of the month, Phantom, last month. Now we are on the second day of the month, and we see actually a reset here because we are seeing MTD values. But if we go actually on the layer L1 sector here, we can see that most of these surrounding things are at least recently against Bitcoin going down. But you can see that Phantom is clearly going up. Here we are looking at March, and everything almost is going down. And Near also had a good moment, but almost everything else is going down. And if you look at the last 3 months, so Phantom in the last 3 months, Phantom is the second best performing L1. And so this is a recent thing, which means that if you look at this chart, like 1 month ago, Phantom wasn't here. Maybe it was around here. And so we talked about this move to the left, and this is a confirmation, another confirmation that this has happened on Phantom, and probably Near is somewhere not very far from here. And this is also why I have the last 3 months, because here, and if we look at the yearly chart, YTD, we see again here from 1st of January this year, Phantom is the second best performing L1, the first one being Sui. And we can see that there are very few that are outperforming Bitcoin, this year, but Phantom is one of them. Phantom is one of them, and Near is also one of them. So again, these are catalysts that and why you mentioned why? Yes, because they have an upgrade, and there is this Sonic upgrade that will make it very competitive in terms of scalability, and that potentially could become as scalable as Solana. And so this is the promise. And also Near, we talked about Near. They are going on different narratives from data availability. So now Near has a data availability. They are also going through building stuff on the AI side of the things, and also about the concept of chain abstraction, interoperability, etc. So these are all things that pushed a Near higher, and also Phantom. And so usually, if these outperformances that you see, they are not random, right? They are caused by something that now needs to be priced in, and so this is what explains the performance that we are seeing on Phantom. Now, so that concludes what I wanted to say on the ecosystems. Is usually you can see, even in the peak of the bull market, we have always the highest prices in gas fees, and that just on its own, independently of what's the price of Bitcoin, what's the price of Ethereum, where is the resistance, where are we in the cycle, etc. If there is a point where a transaction on Ethereum costs an amount that is very high for an average user, above $100, etc. Historically, then and this indicates high activity. Now, this is just a very general framework. Of course, things are evolving all the time. We have blobs now since recently, and the scalability that is being built on, and we had proto-dunk charting. So all these things affect the gas prices, but still, because it's based on supply and demand, we can see kind of these up and down moves that can be used for traders who are into using on-chain data for for their systems and their tradings. Now, I can come back to the to the narrative dashboard just quickly. We can see that. So we said that we are in April, so we are just seeing 2 days of data here but we know that since Monday we had bearish price action. We can see maybe for the first time this year that I'm seeing something like this, where everything without any exception is negative. So all narratives in the last 2 days have had a negative performance. Some are down around 20%, some are down just few percentage, but everything is negative. And so you might actually even find good opportunities here if you compare some of the best performing narratives of the year, which usually they have a strong trend. For example, the AI narrative, and you mentioned Jen about this RWA, which was the best performing. Yes,
that's the one I saw too. I saw your tweet. Sorry.
So
I think there might be a little bit of delay, but I saw that and I was like, oh.
Just for clarity, Koryo, you're saying, if you focus on what was the strongest, all the narratives are moving south right now. They're all moving negative. But if you focus on the ones that have been the strongest, they're likely to be the ones that are more resilient.
Absolutely. So we always say you should bet on strength, and you should follow the trend on what's going up. And so the trend is clear. If you look at YTD numbers, memes for sure have had a good year so far, but real world assets are the second best performing narratives of the year. Last month, as you can see from the history of narratives, they were the best narrative, and this is the first time that it has ever happened. And never so far we had RWA
and is there any correlation between what are the weakest narratives right now in this downturn versus relative to what were the weakest or strongest ones a week or 2 ago?
So the weakest one we've had are real yield, perpetuals, NFTs. So NFTs are continuing to have a bad year, or bad period overall, but these other ones are we've seen them regularly among the worst performing. So here, for example, you see perps. It happens often. So no other correlation that than that. The ones that are performing well are usually staying every month among the top ones. So Bitcoin narrative, RWA and AI. AI is very strong. So I have also just recently, like few days ago, I did a dashboard, a dedicated dashboard on AI narrative, which is a work in progress. But at least there is now almost 200 projects, AI related projects that I'm, at least I have here on my dashboard, and now more on-chain data will come here to cover this, because there are a lot of subsectors. You have decentralized GPUs, you have the training side, you have the inference side, you have GameFi using AI, you have large language models, etc. A lot of, probably one of the most exhaustive and complex narratives out there, the AI. So that's why I started this recent dashboard on it. Being a data scientist is also one of my areas of interest, of course. But let me actually go on the charts, and we have just few minutes.
Koryo, really fast.
Yes,
that is
yes.
impressive. I felt my eyes kind of bug out of my head, because it was like, there is, I mean, honestly, like I talk about it all the time, and I'm always like, it's so amazing to have the three of you guys together and sharing these tools and things that you use to kind of guide your trading. Or, like Mark, like you might not be actively trading. I think you are, but, to like have carbon DeFi, to have material indicators, to offer, like, you gather all of this information and just make it available to everybody. Like, this is serious.
I gotta say, thank God for data junkies like Koryo, because this is mortal humans don't do this kind of thing, right?
I mean,
I just a lot of respect and admiration for the amount of time and energy you put into building this, because this is just 100%. A phenomenal resource.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. Actually, I might say that I'm probably lucky, because I was into data before joining Web3 and crypto, and that's probably I already had this data side of me, and the passion for data and finding insights on data before joining crypto, because once you join crypto, then there is a lot of things going on, and it's hard to develop these kind of skills once you are there. But yeah, so I'm happy to provide these dashboards and have this feedback. I would like to conclude with maybe another dashboard, which we've since we had the YouTube screen sharing, I've never shared, but it complements, I think, pretty well what Keith was saying on the perspective of the market. So it's we are seeing in gray here the price of action of Bitcoin now. We went all the way up to 73 something, and now we are back around below 70K. And so this golden line here is showing the performance of altcoins compared to Bitcoin. Somehow we can think of it a bit like this. There is more things going on. There is on-chain data. We talked about gas prices and this kind of stuff that is also integrated somehow in this. But what I would like to highlight is, usually so here it's a buy the dip kind of zone, or a or cycle bottom kind of zones below 10 on this indicator, and above 90 is kind of market top, which we can see actually happened in 2021 here and also here. Although it's not very easy to see from the Bitcoin price action, but there was a very strong alt rally in 2020 as well. And then you can see actually also in 2022, we had several times, and as well in 2023, where we went below 10 for the indicator, and these were in very, very low prices. We were usually, most of the time when this happened, we were at 17K here, and other times here it happened again 25K. So if you had used this system so far, at least it provided you with some good entries. But regardless of that, what I wanted to highlight is we are currently here. But although and look at this divergence between this amazing performance of Bitcoin and this weak performance of the alts
right,
in general. And so this indicates to me at least the upcoming upside potential that we have in the long term for alts, because we are actually at least based on this system, which might not be perfect, but at least it shows historical, pattern of what how alts have performed against Bitcoin. We are not very far from the bottom, and so and we can see it actually on the Bitcoin dominance, which is very, very high in terms of its historical, at least in the last few months. You can see that Bitcoin dominance is very high. If you look at the weekly chart, since the last bull market, we are at very, very high values, and it's not going down. And so usually this means that when the bull market comes and after the halving, etc., this will go down in the same way that it happened here, in 21, and then that's where alts will start outperforming Bitcoin, and then these things will go up. But it can go up very quickly, as you can see here. For example, it happened, from January 2021 to the top. It happened in 3 months, so it can go from bottom to top. And also in the other direction pretty quickly, but this is bullish to me because it shows the upside potential that we still have in the upcoming month and post halving.
That's pretty cool.
It's very cool.
Pound for pound, there's more alpha in this hour than anything you will find anywhere.
I know. I keep saying this, and I don't know if, maybe that's why I'm kind of losing my voice here, because I'm trying to get this out so hard, because every week I sit here and I'm like, there's so much everybody can take from this,
Sure.
Thank you guys so much for doing this with me every week. I absolutely love it. I know that we are helping traders and, even liquidity providers, Mark, kind of create these different sorts of strategies, gain this sort of knowledge, kind of build the confidence, I think, even to use these sorts of tools, because sometimes on their own, they can be a little bit intimidating. So really just thank you guys so much for doing this with me every week. And thank you to all of the listeners also for tuning in. I say listeners, we're actually live now.
We have viewers.
We have viewers for tuning in. We will see you all next week, Tuesday, 3 p.m. UTC. I know everybody else in the world other than myself had a time change. So any confusion, you guys all reach out and let me know. Thank you again, everybody.
Thank you. Great call as always. Thanks, guys.
We'll see you next week.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
We'll see you guys.
Bye-bye.